The views and opinions expressed by the guest speaker on this episode are solely those of the guest. The content shared is intended for informational purposes only and should not be construed as professional advice or endorsement.
My name is Gaétan Chevalier, and I am director of the Earthing Institute. I have been at that position since 2007. So today I would like to talk about earthing, the health benefits, and research. What is earthing? It means having the body in direct physical contact with the surface of the earth. It is both a timeless practice and modern discovery, and it means recharging the body with electrons, which we call electric nutrition. It naturally discharges static electricity, and it prevents chronic inflammation, improves blood circulation, and reduces stress. I'll show you some example of research on that. So, why is earthing important and useful? We have accumulated many testimonials for many conditions, and we also have several research projects that have been conducted, which I will talk about it later. Partial list of conditions improve include, of course, inflammation with pain, blood circulation, blood pressure, stress, mood, sleep, fatigue, fibromyalgia, delayed onset muscle soreness, electrosensitivity, hormonal imbalances, menstrual symptoms, jet lag, arthritis, wound healing, allergies, Alzheimer, autism, cancer, diabetes. You name them, we have people who have been helped with all these conditions. And we're finding from research, chronic inflammation is actually caused by electron deficiency. So it's kind of the same thing. Chronic inflammation equal electron deficiency. I just want to say a word about the person who started this earthing revolution, Clint Ober. He used to be a TV cable industry executive who had some health challenges and decided to do something about it. He had pains all over and he was in Sedona and he looked at, people coming out of a bus, visitors, all in running shoes. And being a TV cable executive, he knew that the cables have to be grounded in order to function properly. So he wondered if we're not bioelectrical systems, if it worked better if we were grounded, which he found effectively. And then everything is a story from there. You can read the details in the book. So why then do we have electrons in the earth and why is it that important? First, the earth acts as a battery itself. There's a circuit called the global electric circuit that recharges the earth from electrons continuously. It's mainly through lightnings, especially in South America and Africa. It is recharged by the sun, which is sun rays splitting the molecules of air and protecting us from UV 60 miles up or 100 kilometers up in the atmosphere. And then these being picked up by thunderclouds, being processed in there, and the lightning delivering electrons to the earth. I would like just to share a few words about research. The first thing is that when Clint Ober met Dr. Sinatra, Dr. Sinatra immediately saw, well, what you're talking about looks like earthing reduced inflammation. So how do we check that? The first thing that comes to mind is thermal imaging, because thermal imaging is an infrared camera that actually look at heat patterns on the body. And so this was decided and was done. There is actually on the website of the Earthing Institute in the research page, a paper by Dr. Amanu called Thermographic Case Studies. That was done in 2004, actually. And you can see in there that For example, a person with knee pain grounded for 30 minutes and the inflammation reduced significantly. Now, going back to the subject of mental health, I already mentioned that the stress is decreased when a person is grounded. But what I want to point out is that the stress that we're talking about is not only, the stress that a person feel in their mind, but also physiological stress. So that means that the autonomic nervous system function changes upon grounding. It takes about 1 second or two for the autonomic nervous system. So that includes the brain. I'm talking about the entire nervous system of the person changes towards a more parasympathetic response. So that means it's a relaxation of the autonomic nervous system itself. What this does is that it relaxes the brain, make the brain more effective. In fact, we have a research project that was done on the effect of earthing on meditation. And we found effectively using brain mapping that there was a marked improvement in brain function and coordination and attention, and that the people reported a deeper meditation. So effectively, the whole body is affected. And one of the interesting effect of this is that because now the body is in its normal state, the autonomic nervous system and the brain and the mind can now control all functions of the body. What we found in another research project is that when a person is not grounded, the regulation of muscle tone is gone. The autonomic nervous system basically decides that it's too much energy to control the tone of muscles. And so it let go of that. We also found that upon grounding, to support the fact that the autonomic nervous system itself getting into parasympathetic mode, we found also that there is an immediate change in the left brain function of a person when the person is grounded. So all of this lead also with the brain mapping system, we could find also that the person's mood improved. And we have in fact another research project that is just about mood improvement. But we found also that the effect on massage therapists is also a mood improvement, but more than mood improvement, stress reduction, pain reduction, inflammation reduction, and the results are reported by the massage therapists themselves. Also, an interesting subject is the recent research on depression and inflammation of the brain. So that was published recently, I would say in 2021. And the researcher found the following. Functional MRI studies found that peripheral inflammatory markers are associated with aberrant activation patterns and altered functional connectivity in neural circuits involved in emotion regulation, reward processing, and cognitive control in depression. So, structural MRI studies have suggested that peripheral inflammatory markers are related to reduced cortical gray matter and subcortical volumes, cortical thinning, and decreased integrity of the white matter tracks with depression related neural circuits. These neuroimaging findings may improve our understanding of the relationship between neuroinflammatory processes at the molecular level and macro scale in vivo neural circuit dysfunction in depression. So, this is a very significant study. It's actually not one study, but it's a review study on many studies on the subject. And we found exactly the same thing, that all these inflammatory paths are decreased and that our neuroimaging system, which is a brain mapping system, shows exactly the same thing, improve brain function. And so there's really, really a lot of positivity into being grounded for brain function and mental health. which improved the whole function of all the body at the same time. We also have a paper where we did many measurements. We measured the pulse rate, the respiratory rate, the oxygenation of the blood, perfusion index, and skin conductance. And we found that there's an immediate relaxation process happening inside the body when a person is grounded. It's like the body saying, now we don't have to be in a stress condition. We have the energy, the electrons that we need. It takes about 20 minutes and it starts to work towards repairing the body. And we see that by a change in stress, respiratory rate, heart rate. And it was a pretty interesting discovery, actually. Also, there's another research that was done on stress-induced anxiety in rats, and they found neuroendocrine changes. And the rat that were grounded were having less stress when in a situation that create normally stressful situations. So, in summary, our hypotheses are these. The body utilizes the Earth's free electrons to energize its metabolism. These electrons maintain the body's internal electrical stability in order to maintain proper functioning of body systems. Remember that, like lupus, for example, is a case where the immune system attacked the body. So this comes from loss of internal electrical stability. So lack of Earth's free electrons leads to electrical instability and dysfunction of the body system, also chronic inflammation, and many other problems that we mentioned already. So for more information, we encourage you to look at the website earthinginstitute.net. You can also join our Facebook group, which has more than 9,000 people, which is called Earthing Insider. And I would like to thank you for listening to this podcast.